Hello everybody and welcome to the February edition of the Bunker Chat. My name is Ólafur Steinarsson and I'm here with Gummi and we're in a bunker and we're about to chat.
Yeah, always fun.
Yeah, so for anyone that's seeing this for the first time, this is the moment where we just kind of sit down in our bunker and have a conversation about what's going on in cards right now, what are we learning, what are we doing, and what are your questions, right? So that's what we're kind of working with right now. And to kick us off, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the changes that we released in February. We had a massive patch on the 10th of February. We changed a lot of the progression systems in the game, a lot of the reward systems. Since then, we've been learning something new every day. What's been the kind of post-mortem of that for us? Like, let's start by talking about that.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to start. I mean, in the last Bunker Chat, then we were talking about all these changes, and then they were coming out just after that. So now some time has passed, and we have some battle experience on these new systems. I mean, I'd like to say maybe to begin with that of course a lot of the stuff that we went out with, we weren't really sure what was going to happen. For example, with the ladder, how the transition, even if we were pretty confident it will all work pretty well in the end, the transition of course was putting everyone down on the same level in the ladder, and regardless of ELO and all that. Yeah, was interesting. I have to say one of the things I was surprised with was how hardcore the ladder became in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
And still is, actually.
That's true. I mean, from my perspective, I've enjoyed playing the ladder so much since the change, and I'm like still working my way up. I think I'm like rank 5 or something now, but I'm like getting so close to the field marshal. And I'm finding like I'm hitting different like plateaus in the ladder where like my deck isn't good enough to go past rank 10 or something, and I really like that. But I think like one of the things that became really obvious to us after we released that new ladder was how important casual mode is. And it was something that we talked about kind of coming up to the release. Internally we were like, okay, we should maybe do casual mode with this because this is going to change the way the ladder works. But then once the changes came out, we noticed how important it actually was. So what do you feel about casual mode then, and kind of the process that led us to that point?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, I mean, it was kind of always part of the package, but we just didn't have time to because these were so many different systems we were trying to get out at the same time. So we kind of left that and we slotted it for, it was supposed to come a little bit later, but after we went live, we soon realized that, okay, we have to rush this in as soon as possible. Yeah. And it is out now, and I mean, it seems to be working pretty well. And I think when we were looking at the numbers now, maybe 20% of all games are casual battles. And I think it's well appreciated. We've gotten good feedback on it. Of course, it is really harsh to be stuck in this pretty hardcore ladder when you want to try out new decks or just relax and play some casual games.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I think like my stance on this. Like I thought this was missing for a while, right? Yeah. Like I just wanted to be able to go in and not risk anything or put anything on the line and test fun decks. So I really hope this does open up that possibility for a lot of the kind of newer players. Yeah. I've been playing a few of the casual battles, and I had a lot of fun games in them. Like I was trying out like weird decks and fun decks. So I've been enjoying that, but. In terms of like other changes that we created, one of the things that kind of stuck out for me when it came to the feedback that we were seeing post changes was that we maybe, I would say, underestimated the complexity of the changes in the systems, because we had been talking about it for so long internally and like going into the weeds of things. But then when it came out, a lot of people were maybe a little bit confused. What happens to my duplicate cards? Didn't really understand the crate, or we didn't put in the UI like the ranked ladder rewards, but that's basically scalable from like a golden elite down to a golden standard card. So we kind of I would say one of our learnings there is that we need to, be better at displaying the information that you need to see in the client.
Yeah, probably we both need to, message that exactly how things work better, and also just in the UI itself in the game, it should explain how things work in a more detailed manner. Definitely, and I mean, a similar thing we did with, for example, in the ladder now. I mean, you used to have in the old ladder that you could always see the rewards that you were going to get for getting to the next rank and all that. And we kind of just decided, because these are fewer rewards now, and not the system is not as reward driven as it was. We just decided, let's not clutter the UI by displaying the rewards. But of course there are, which made some players think that there were no rewards.
Yeah.
But there are, of course, some gold cards of different rarities that you get for progressing. So I think we're gonna add something into the UI that shows that clearly.
I mean, we can also tell people that we are working on a set of cosmetics as ranked rewards as well. Card backs,
definitely. Yeah.
Kind of rank-specific card backs, so you can flex, all over the place if you've reached Field Marshal or whatever rank it is. I'm really excited about that. That's something that I feel like, I've been missing that for a while. Like, if I'm of that rank, I really want to showcase that rank. Another thing that kind of came up around these changes were gold cards, right? Now, we've known for some time that the gold cards aren't quite where we wanted them to be in terms of, prestige, right?
Indeed.
So when we made this change and gold cards all of a sudden became a more kind of prominent reward, some people just didn't really like it, right? Just felt it cluttered the collection, and wasn't sure of the value of them. And I think that has a lot to do with like the current state of them. So maybe you could tell people, like, what are we doing and how are we thinking about the gold cards?
So we're very much in the middle of the process of reworking the gold cards now. So I don't know exactly how they will turn out in the end, but we want to change them to be more distinctive, definitely, than they are today. A little bit more glamorous, and also we want to change the UI so that you have more control over whether you use your gold cards or not. I've always been annoyed by this, that you're forced to use them. Yeah. Which maybe should tell me that they don't look good enough. I mean, of course, I should want to use them. So yeah, we're working a lot on them now.
I'm really excited to see how they turn out. Yeah. I think that's another thing that I've been missing a little bit, is like that super premium kind of gold card vibe.
Yeah. You want to go all in and get us some diamond cards?
Yeah, I mean, I know I want that, but I know you don't want that. But I think like
rainbow unicorn cards even.
I mean, let's ask the community. Would they want rainbow unicorn? If you could get the Cuban Cossacks, but they're riding unicorns, would you not do that? Like, I would 100% do that, personally.
I would allow it, as a art director, if it was, only one day a year, you could use it or something like that.
Okay, that would be good. That would be good. But I think this is also part of a larger discussion, right? Which comes down to, how do we customize playing cards in the game? Like, right now we only have, gold cards, but like, we've been talking about things like alternative art, maybe other types of sleeves or something like that. And I think, making a really good gold card that is a hit with the players is the first step in actually knowing what our players want when it comes to these customization options.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I definitely we're gonna go further down that line, I think. But let's, as you say, let's start with this and see how it goes, and we'll decide the next steps. I'm
hearing that maybe our mic volume is a little bit low from the chat, so if the tech team could look at that. But yeah, so do you want to do the honors of telling the players of what to expect in March? Because I feel like, we've talked about some things. Yes, I would say, we've learned a ton of stuff from these changes. Those are probably the highlights. I guess as well, we're also maybe slowing down a little bit the pace of our balance changes, and looking into kind of how that affects stuff. Like if I just crafted a card that then got nerfed, how are we handling that?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've definitely gotten some clear message from our community, and now that we've been maybe messing about a little bit too much with too frequent balance changes. So we'll probably be slowing them down a little bit, so that people can, get the feel for stuff, before we mess it all up again.
So I have a question here, just directly from chat, because I like just pulling them in randomly. Animated cards. What do you think about that? What's your as an art director? What's your stance on animated cards? Because I know you talk a lot about the aesthetic of playing cards and so on.
I'm a bit, in all the designs I'm involved in, I'm very much of the less is more school of thought, and animated cards are not exactly, don't belong there. I think it's pretty cool to have these like printed cards that look like actual playing cards and things like that. Secondly, we're a small studio, and animated cards are of course a huge endeavor to go into producing. And if we were going to do animated cards, I would want them to be, look great. I don't want to do some half-assed versions of them. So. But I'm skeptic about them a little bit. Or I think it's going to be a challenge, but we will definitely do some experiments with it. I find it very unlikely that we will have an animated version of all the cards in the game at any point. But maybe some special collector's cards or things like that. We could try it out.
I mean, we're also looking at animations in different and interactivity in kind of different areas as well. We're also looking at that in kind of relation to the table props and that kind of stuff. One thing that we threw this around in like a closed-door meeting a while back, but because we have the community here and we're talking about this, I would love to hear their thoughts. But we were talking about something like a notepad where you could maybe play tic-tac-toe against your opponent between turns. So while he's thinking, you're doing tic-tac-toe. We're looking at these kinds of interactivity. So I would love to hear, in the chat if you guys, like something like that. So
as long as they're not playing another card game, within our card game, it's fine with me.
Yeah. So tic-tac-toe is okay then.
You're not supposed to play Gwent in cards.
That would actually be pretty funny. So let's go back to March. March, there's something coming.
Yeah, I'm going to open a bottle of champagne here to celebrate. That's enough of these system stuff. Now we're getting back to the fun stuff, the cards. So we're going to add a small expansion. Internally, we've called it a mini expansion, or actually, it is more of an add-on to Breakthrough, and it's going to be called the Breakthrough Catalyst. And it is a set of 24 unique cards. That you will be able to buy standalone or complete that complete set. But it will also go into the Breakthrough packs, and you can craft them as well as any other cards and so on. So there will be I think it's like no, I don't remember, but I think it's like 60 or 70, close to 70 cards total. They're relatively higher on the rarity scale, so the total number is not that high, but it's a lot of interesting cards that are gonna shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I kind of like this idea that it's an add-on to kind of breakthrough. So even if you have some breakthrough packs saved up, you're able to go get these cards.
Yeah.
You can earn them, you can craft them, so you're able to access them in multiple ways. But if you're up for it, you can also just buy them outright and get all of them. And I think that's also an important thing for us to kind of go through as a company and to learn about this, like how do we best serve the new cards to the community? How do we best meet their expectations? Like the gold cards, if the rework is close to complete there, is there a premium version of this for the gold card collectors, right? Like there are a lot of these kinds of things that we have to discuss and think about. But I think this is a kind of it's a step in the right direction, and I think I want to highlight like a few things. One, these mini releases means that we're slowing down the influx of cards slightly, right? So we're not doing like 300 or 500 cards a year, but we're doing it a slightly lower amount. But
yeah, I mean we're doing. I mean some of the other games, which I'm not going to name. I mean they have been coming out with 700 cards a year, or a really extreme amounts, and phasing out constantly the older sets. So it becomes really expensive to be a competitive player. But also for us, so we don't want to go there. But we also, the World War II, the number of units that we can play, use and so on, is also, even if it is a lot, it's not infinite, like elves and dwarves and dragons, which you can just
make more of,
or make goblin dragons or whatever, mix it all together. So for us, it's about both, not overwhelming the players with too much cards and too many sets of cards, and just trying to find this sweet spot of just introducing cards frequently enough and enough cards to always shake the meta up enough and keep things fresh without overwhelming everyone or demanding that people need to spend $100 a year on our game.
I would say one thing is like these cards that are coming in the mini release, they do not contain any new keywords or any new unit types or anything. That's not part of these mini releases.
No. There is a Soviet research card, the Tsar bomb, which is like you play it out and it does 100 damage to everything. But it's the only card I'm gonna mention.
So. Got a question from chat. What's the amount of cards we're aiming for in a year? Do you know that off the top of your head?
So we are trying to kind of gradually get to some kind of a release schedule or pace that works well for us as a company, and of course mainly for the community. And what we're looking at now is coming out with 2 bigger expansions a year and 2 add-ons. So we are talking about somewhere between 200 and maybe 240 cards or something like that. And then I'm very fond of the idea of being able to inject just maybe into the base set or figure out some way to come out in between with maybe just 1 card for each nation, 5 cards here, 5 cards there, things like that.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the ballpark of around 200.
Okay. So there's a question here on Facebook that's asking when will these cards be available for purchase? I mean, we don't know the cost right now, so I can't answer that, Andrea. But what we can announce is that there's pre-orders going to go live in March.
Yeah. Definitely, pre-orders are gonna start as early as next week, the latter part of next week. I'm hesitant to I think the marketing department might kill me if I say the exact date.
Yeah, I mean we'll definitely be spoiling some cards as well in the coming weeks. and revealing them. So that's going to be pretty good. So there was one thing that has been coming up a few times in chat, and we haven't really, we didn't really plan on discussing it. But I think, because we're in this setting, let's talk about it, right? And I think this is something that we've talking about for a while, and it's mobile, right? And I just wanted to, because there's so many questions from our community surrounding mobile, and we've talked about we really want to message this properly, and we really want to talk about it properly. But with everything that's going on, it's really hard to find the time to dedicate to building a concrete messaging strategy and stuff about it. But meanwhile, it's just becoming this bigger and bigger elephant in the room. So I think maybe we can just give them an update and tell them what we're thinking about mobile.
Yeah, so I mean, it was, and we have this public roadmap, for example, on our Steam page that some players might know about. And mobile was there on the Q1 this year on that roadmap, and then suddenly it just disappeared, and we haven't talked to anyone about it. But basically, we felt that we were in a position with the PC version that we wanted to kind of lay the groundwork better, learn more about building up the community better, and do things like these changes with all these underlying systems in the game, and like we were talking about with the release schedule of the expansions, and try to step up our game a little bit, and before we go to mobile, because we think mobile is going to be really big for KARDS, and we are pretty confident it will be that. But the better we have laid the groundwork with the PC version, the less risk it is, because of course mobile is a different beast. The noise in the mobile market is extreme, and we just want to be confident when we go there. So we decided to delay it. We have not put any dates on it at this moment, and we are not actively working on it at the moment, but we will start again soon on the mobile production.
So there's also some interesting context here in terms of our journey of learning what it means to publish a mobile game. I mean, most people won't know this because we didn't really get a chance to make the results of this work public, but we spent most of the last 3 months of last year working on mobile, getting tests out, and kind of barreling towards that release in Q1 of this year. But then as we were going through that process, and all of a sudden, things like, publishing and marketing and player acquisition and this and this and this, and then, we decided to kind of kick it into high gear with these system changes that we were making. And then we find out okay, but then we need to make them for mobile as well, so we need to play catch up, and that's going to impact this. And so it kind of just forced us to reevaluate, the strategy that we were doing here. And when we were talking about setting dates and date ranges, we decided not to, because we've made that mistake in the past. And we're here to say, we 100% acknowledge that we made that mistake in setting, dates and certain expectations for when mobile would come out that we then didn't deliver on. So we don't want to make that mistake again. It's still very much a high priority for us in getting it out, but it's for a new company, a small team, a gigantic task that we're kind of figuring our way out, way through.
Yeah.
Would you say that captures it?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we just want to do things a little bit, in the correct order. And like you mentioned, we're a small company, and we've often been doing a lot of things at the same time. And sometimes when you do that, the result is that you do a lot of things, and the quality of all of them drops a bit. And we don't want to kind of drop the quality. We want to kind of build, like I say, a really solid foundation before we go on mobile, because we know it's really the one of the biggest kind of opportunities for cards. And we are, I mean, mobile, of course, maybe for some of the players who are with us here, for them mobile is like an additional layer of, you know, they can play it on mobile here and on the PC there. But we're also, of course, looking at the mobile market. There is a huge mobile market that are players that are not with us yet, that are going to be playing only on mobile, and we also need to think about that.
Yeah, and if we go out with an unfinished version, right, we might be, you know, turning away or potentially losing, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions of players, potential card players that maybe would have stuck in a better version, right? So, you know, it all plays a part, and I decided, because I was seeing so many questions about this in the chat, and I think, like, you know, one of the reasons why we're doing these bunker chats is because we like being honest, we like being open in communication with the community and letting you guys know what we're thinking. So I think it's good that we address this. And,
and I mean, if people are frustrated, I mean, I can understand that, and then we just apologize. I mean, we are also a bit frustrated because it is one of our highest priority things. But we also have to be just realistic and not overextend. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump to a slightly different topic now, and I'm going to do a little bit of an update on the upcoming tournaments. We're going to start by looking at how February has been so far. So yeah, if we could get that up on the screen. So this is what has happened so far in February. We did the KARDS Open 4. Berto Burrito was the winner there. He also won the Officer Club Championship, so he's a double champion this month. Huge kind of surge to the top for Berto Burrito. And then we are currently running the KARDS Open Singleton tournament, which is a custom rule tournament, and that's going to be the finals of that are going to be this Sunday at, I believe it's going to be 3 o'clock UTC, being broadcast live. Myself and Darkness will be casting. And for anyone wondering what Singleton is, you can only have one copy of each card. So there's 40 unique cards in the deck. And
totally changes the game.
Absolutely, and it's been super cool to see the decks. And our previous world champion, quarter finalist or finalist, GK Sukov, is back in the mix, and he's made it to the top 16. So super excited to see him there. But if we can take a look at March, so I can tell you guys a little bit about what's coming up. There you can see what is called there the KARDS Open Week. It has gotten the name KARDS Blitz right now, because what this will be is we will do this in 4-hour time slots on each day. We will do 2 tournaments with up to 8 participants each hour, and we will do this across the 4 days. We will rotate the time slots to better serve different time zones. And the idea here is that we will host over these 4 days 32 tournaments that are up to 8 people. If we need to do more, we will do more. If you know, demand is so high, then we might, you know, do 64 tournaments. These are short single elimination tournaments with no deck restrictions. You just show up and you play what you want. It's best of 3s, and there are in-game prizes for each tournament. But then each winner qualifies for the main event that is the following weekend, which will be a 32 to 64 person single elimination best of 3 bracket with a $1,000 prize pool.
Awesome. Super exciting.
So I am actually really excited about this, because I think this is a super cool way to do tournaments, and have it not be like, we're also looking at this because a lot of people are maybe feeling a little bit bogged down on the long Swiss weekends that are happening every other weekend now. Whereas this, it's going to be, you show up at the correct time, you jump into a tournament. If you're out in the first round, you just sign up for another tournament in the next hour. So you have multiple chances to win, you have multiple chances to play, and you can, what we're doing here is we're really kind of trying to explore, is the tournament setting a way to play cards that we want to serve in the client, right? So we're going to be looking a lot at the feedback that we get around this, if people enjoy this and how it works, and then it.
That would be, I'm really excited that we will figure out a way to do a simple tournament format within the client, like you mentioned, at some point in the future. That would be super exciting.
And then we go over to April, but we are absolutely continuing this over on into April, and it is the KARDS Open 5. It's going to be the standard format, Swiss weekend, kind of with deck bans and submissions. We have the April Officer Club Championship, of course, and then we have KARDS Open Duos. So this is going to be a two-man teams that sign up, and it's going to be the combined score of those players that ultimately decides the result. So I think a lot of people are probably really scared of what's going to be Birdo Burrito and J King 7, you know, teaming up. So yeah. All right, that's it on the kind of tournament update from my end.
That's quite busy schedule. I really look forward to following these.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to 983 Media. They've been doing a wonderful job in both kind of incorporating new kind of talent. We're seeing interest in talent from other game around casting and so on to join the KARDS community, which is a really good sign for us, and I'm really happy to see that. So a huge shout out to 983 for their contributions to this, absolutely. All right, I'm going to go up a little bit because there were some questions here that I wanted to answer, because I think we should maybe just do the last 30 minutes answering questions in chat.
I'm up for it.
Okay. Okay. Where is this? Okay. Are we going to start the new season at rank 20 again?
Sorry, there's a question here. No. Okay. Bye. See you. It was a wrong number.
So, how does the ladder reset work? Does everybody go back to rank 20, or is it a soft reset?
Now, in this coming season?
Yeah.
So, everyone is going to lose a certain amount of stars. If I recall correctly, it's 25 stars that you will drop. Everyone will drop. No one will drop below 20 though. You know, you won't go, if you are over that barrier, you will not go below 20 again. And yeah, that's it. But maybe one thing we didn't talk about when we were talking about, you know, what we've learned from the recent changes, and by studying the ladder and all that stuff, we are very much looking still into doing maybe some changes to the safe spots and win streaks and all those things. Yeah. So people should definitely expect that we might tweak those things a little bit.
I think that makes sense. That was exactly something that came up in chat as soon as you were saying it, right? It's like these kind of save points and how they work. Yeah. And we've been talking about that because it's been a little bit unclear for people again. Yeah. Like, and that's kind of, you know, our learning on the UI side and how we represent this. But I've had some conversations about this, and I feel like, you know, it's important that also people realize it's super natural for people to feel like they are lower ranked than they are supposed to be. Yeah. And that you should be able to get higher. However, it is very rare that people feel like they are too high. Yeah. But when that happens, and if we had like hard save points, there is very much the possibility with the win streaks that a player could get stuck in a higher rank and then just spend the rest of the month getting absolutely stomped without being able to move down. So that's kind of why that, you know, movement up and down was put into the system to begin with. Yeah. But now we need to tweak the parameters of how that movement works so it's good for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it might work a little bit differently up to the mid of the ladder or something like that. And then as you get higher, it might get a little bit more hardcore. So I'm expecting our changes to be something of that nature without going into more details.
So I've also seen some you know, questions here about the ranked rewards. We touched upon these a little bit earlier, but you know, people are still a little bit confused because it doesn't say so in the client. But yes, there will be ranked rewards for this season, and it starts if you get Field Marshal with a Golden Elite, and then it scales down based on rank in terms of rarity, right?
Yes. So you can get a Golden Elite or a Golden Special, limited, etc. But then in the next season, we're hoping to come with the card backs that you will earn for getting a place in the ladder. And either you will be able to use them immediately as you progress, or you can use them for the whole of next season. We haven't really nailed it down yet.
Ooh, can we, chat, what do you think? Like, let's just ask the community straight up. Okay, so we're thinking about two things, right? We're thinking about the ranked card backs working like you can use the card back of the rank that you are currently in, or...
Not the exact rank, but a range of ranks, you know, that you can display on with the card back.
And then the other thing is that you would get the highest rank card back that you received in the last month, right? So if I got to like Field Marshal, I would get the Field Marshal card back available to me for the following month, and then if I wanted it the month after, I would have to go and get Field Marshal again. So it's either like based on previous month's performance or based on your current performance. So what do people think about, you know, should it be based on, should you get rewarded for the previous month's performance and then get that card back for some time, or should it be a reflection of your current performance? That is the question, chat. By all means, let us know your opinion in chat and keep the questions going. Next season card back rewards for Field Marshal hype. See, I'd say people like. I'd say a month after. Okay. Based on previous performance, looks like people are leaning that way.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, if we do that way, you will be able to show, you know, the best you did, you know, or how far you got the last time. The problem with if it is more like a dynamic thing that changes while you go along, it's not telling you anything more than the rank icon tells you. So yeah.
I gotta say though, I mean, the design is pretty cool that we're working with. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, they're interesting.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I think they're gonna look good.
Yeah, okay, so there's also, this wouldn't be a new set of card backs every month, but the way we would probably do this is that we would basically make a set of card backs for whatever period, right? It might be once a year, it might be once every 6 months or something. Yeah. And then you would unlock them, you know, temporarily during that period, but at the end of it, you would permanently unlock, you know, some of those card backs or all of those card backs that you had earned. So we would be rotating the sets maybe on a 6 or 12 month basis. So we would be having kind of new and cool ranked rewards that are regularly being changed and improved. Yeah. And then we're also looking at like, do we want, are we adding any more, you know, rewards to this? That might obviously come in the future. We're really ramping up our cosmetics production and hopefully, you know, making more table props. We have a set of amazing knives coming out in the very near future, and I've been teasing them for probably 2 months, but I'm so excited for those.
They're gonna look great.
But yeah. All right, so any questions from chat? Make it shiny based on previous months. Everybody's going previous month.
Okay, that's a clear hint then.
Can we have a list of quality of life improvements? Quality of life improvements. What quality of life improvements?
I can. It's a good question. I can talk about one quality of life thing that we're doing, or you know, not specifics maybe, but we have been gathering into a list of UI and UX things that we want to do a kind of consolidated effort on fixing quite a lot of things that have been bothering us for a while and we've gotten feedback about. So, and that is in the roadmap pretty soon. So I can at least say that we are working on a package of things that will include quite a few quality of life things and UI stuff that just improvements. But you know, it may or may not include that you could sort your deck collection or things like that. You know? And also some UI things in the battle scene itself and so on. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've also talked a little bit about like we need to probably rework pretty soon, like how you customize your battlefield and how you customize your deck and that kind of stuff. It's a little bit of crude UI at the moment. It doesn't really have room for a ton of more items and so on. So it's kind of the thing. A lot of people are asking about more music in the game. And I feel like this is a consistent question. But I always have the same answer. It's just like, it's so hard. Maybe you can give more context on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're licensing these really iconic songs, and maybe the most iconic songs from the period. And getting the license to use those was a really long and painful process, and it's quite expensive. And but it's also just there isn't, there aren't that many songs that are that iconic as those. But we really want to keep on adding into the music collection. It's not high on the priority list, I have to admit, at the moment. But it's definitely not something we've forgotten about or content with just having as it is.
I have a really good question here that I think is super interesting, and I want to like roll through a few ideas on this. And it's basically, what about statistics on your decks, like win rates and time played and that kind of stuff. For context, I have a task on me in our backlog right now to host a player statistics workshop for the team, where we go through and brainstorm the different statistics that would make sense to show and that kind of stuff. There's also things that kind of, a lot of people maybe that exist outside the gaming industry sometimes don't understand about those systems. Because putting in stats can also make people feel really bad. So like a huge learning that I had when I was at Riot Games, they used to show wins and losses, but then they changed it over to only showing wins because some people that had more losses than wins were feeling self-conscious about the stats. So this is a very kind of different need when it comes to stats based on what type of player you are. So I think we need to make sure that we're not putting like tools in the game so that people can like bash on others for being bad or something, but like you still need something that can be reaffirming for your efforts and help give you kind of a good sense of it. One thing that I've been super advocating about and interested in is doing like, what if I could get a table prop that like tracks the number of wins I have with that deck or something, right? So like basically, I would have my Commando deck that I've been playing for like 3 months and the Commando knife or something, and then I would see that I've won 100 games, like it's engraved in the knife or something.
Yeah, like the markers on the airplanes, how many enemies they've shot down, that would be really cool.
I think something like that could be super cool.
But it's a bit of a complicated thing though. I mean, what is a deck, if you change one card, is it still the same deck? So there are some complications, but I think this workshop that you're thinking about or you're going to do is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have it soon, and we're actually looking into like also what stats should be public, what stats should be private to you, right? Like that's a good question. Where do stats matter the most? So there's quite a bit of work into it, because if we just throw all the stats in the back end into the client, then really quickly things would get overcrowded and ugly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to keep things tidy. Yeah.
All right. Any further questions in chat? Let me find this. When are the new card adjustments, nerfs, and boosts? When are we doing the next balance patch? Is that going to be alongside the mini release?
Yeah, it's coming with the mini release in March.
In March.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Earlier, or the first half of March.
Okay.
So it's quite soon.
So there's an idea in chat about a cards-themed mouse cursor.
That's a thing that's been in our backlogs, for years. I'm not sure why it's never made it through, because it's actually strange. I mean, most games have a thematic cursor, and I definitely think we should do that. Good reminder. Thank you.
Good reminder. All right. So, printed cards, a possibility? Will we ever do something like that?
I mean, we'll definitely do printed cards, and we've done it quite a few times. So all kinds of promo items and things like that. We even have, these packs here I can open. What did I get?
Oh, you got
Air Superiority and the Hayabusa.
That's great.
But printed version of the game as a playable thing, that's a super interesting concept. But I think we really want to nail the digital version first completely, and then we'll maybe explore that as a.
What we could maybe do is we could maybe there could maybe be like a limited edition run of collector cards or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't. It would be a collectible, not like a playable set of cards or something. Very likely.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, interesting to try to make a playable version, but it
would ruin our focus at the moment.
Yeah. We're not focusing at it at the moment.
I also think getting some questions about merch kind of related to this, and I can happily announce that yesterday in a meeting I got the green light to go ahead in terms of finding strategic partnerships around creating and delivering merch around cards.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to be starting that work next week.
Socks and underwear we're starting out with.
Underwear, Thomas bobbleheads, that's pretty much it. No, but like I really want that. Just I don't know, man. Like just the Cards logo on things, right? Like these canisters and stuff. Like
absolutely,
it's super cool. So
I have so many EVE Online T-shirts and hoodies still since I was working at CCP that I want to slowly, evolve those into 1939 games and cards.
Yeah, so it's asking for cards, socks, hoodies, coffee cups. I mean, sure, we can totally do it. Tasta's Rainbow. Some of the artwork used in the game we can license to use on merch, but not all of it. That's definitely something that we're looking into, kind of in it. Card back with draft when. That's actually one thing that we're looking into kind of in the, I would say, coming weeks is at least a display of table props in the draft mode.
Yes, definitely. That will happen really soon. We've been working on it, and on that note, we are also we've been discussing draft a lot recently, and of course we've noticed from the stats and gotten feedback. That draft is maybe not in an ideal spot when it comes to balance at the moment, and has been for a while. We've been just so laser focused on other things, we've kind of left it out a little bit, but we're definitely focusing on draft now.
Yeah. A lot of people here are also asking, are we going to get a rework of the deck builder screen in the game, because
the deck builder has, it's been, one of these things we've not wanted to mess too much with, because we're always, we are thinking about doing a complete overhaul of it. So we've just left it, just tweaked it a little bit here and there. But there are some issues with it, and it becomes even maybe clearer after we add more and more cards into the game, and so I think we are looking at a complete overhaul of that. But
do you feel that? The earthquake? There was a small earthquake. So for anybody that doesn't know, there have been crazy amounts of earthquakes in the past couple of days here in Iceland. It's been insane.
I've never experienced this before.
Was that another one, or?
Yeah,
No.
I think so. I felt something.
Man, it's crazy. Yeah, Iceland is about to explode, man. Stay in the bunker. It's good. It's good that we're in the bunker.
We're in the bunker.
All right, no. So there's also a question here that I saw, which was, or a comment rather. Fantastic Goat 777 said that they're asking for too much, right? But I wanna respond to it. I wanna say no, right? The fact that you're asking for this much means that you have passion for the game. And that is really, really good, right? The problem is that, in an ideal world, we would want to do everything immediately. But, at the end of the day, we have to take on what I would say is the boring and gut-wrenching task of having to prioritize things based on resources and that kind of stuff. Because, we're all obviously huge fans of the game and would love to see it be perfect in every single way. So by all means, don't stop asking for stuff. Ask for stuff all over, right? Like, give us a thumbs up on Steam and post, what you want to see in the game. We read all the Steam reviews, so even if you have some comments there, like just reaching us there with a thumbs up is great. And keep communicating in chat with us and on the Steam articles and everywhere, and just keep asking for stuff. That's how we know what you guys want.
Yeah, agree.
So, Oli emote when Scout has an emote of me, so Thomas emote. Okay. Any further questions coming from the chat? Any further feedback? Everyone is asking how the game is, but not how the developers are. How are you guys doing? What do you think of the current cards based on the newest changes? I really appreciate the casual mode after I asked it here in an AMA a long time ago. It's a great question, yeah, boy, Rodri. Thank you so much for this one. I really appreciate it. Maybe you want to go first? How are you feeling, Gummi?
About cards?
Yep, just about life and where we are.
Yeah, I'm very just happy in life. It's super busy days. Of course, last year has been a bit weird for everyone on this planet, but we are, I think, really lucky here in Iceland, at least at the moment. So we can live our lives pretty normally these days. So we're privileged, and I'm thankful for that. As for cards, I'm really excited to see how these recent changes we've done and the stuff that's coming is gonna affect the game. I can say for myself, I've been playing the latter now, and also of course starting from the very beginning with a new account and just trying to build up a collection by grinding and so on. And I enjoyed it very much. I think we're getting in a better place. I mean, like with all these changes, we knew that not everyone would like them. That's the nature of things. And the transition would, of course, be a little bit difficult because with changing systems that have been the same for a long time and so on. But by playing around within this new environment myself, I'm pretty confident we're going in the right direction to make the game more enjoyable for the future generations of card players.
Absolutely.
And new players and more casual players and the more competitive ones alike. So I mean that is always a big challenge, to try to kind of make the game interesting on both ends of this pretty big spectrum.
Yeah, and people looking for very different things on different ends there. And I would say, like, from my perspective, I share a lot of your sentiment, right? Like, I'm doing pretty good. February's been a pretty kind of busy month, but I also work in a few other projects that kind of blew up a little bit in the month. So it's been a 3 full-time job month. And it's been pretty exhausting, but what has been kind of keeping me going, honestly, is these kind of casting gigs around cards. Just getting to like sit down and enjoy cards and talk about it for like 4 or 5 hours. It actually just helps me relax a lot and kind of keep motivated in all of the other stuff that I'm doing. So, but I think like, you know, it was an unfortunate time. I wish I could have maybe done more, you know, on the cards side, right? But I still did everything that I could. But it's always the feeling when you see like a team doing such insanely good things, you know, and you feel like you want to do more, right? But I think like
doing a lot.
I think we got, you know, I think cards is in a great spot now. I think the ladder is now a ladder, right? I think ranked is now ranked, right?
Yeah.
I've gotten the challenge of playing ranked for the first time in this new system, really, instead of just kind of mindlessly earning stars without a ton of issue. So I appreciate that. I think the casual mode is a great addition because, you know, I think, like I've said before, people just don't like losing stars, right? Like casual players don't like losing stuff, so it kind of makes sense. So I mean, yeah, I'm really optimistic. We're seeing kind of we're seeing slow swings in like player numbers, but like overall the trend is growing over time. You know, we have a lot of hope and excitement around the mini release that's coming up. We heard a lot from people kind of around these changes that they were referencing their friends to come join the game and kind of felt confident recommending the game, and that is super kind of encouraging to hear. So yeah, that's maybe my status update on the personal side.
I mean, I second all that, and with in regards to the growing numbers, I mean, we are also at the same time now, I mean, we're planning all kinds of really interesting acquisition schemes, and I am really confident KARDS is going to be growing, growing healthily in the near future, and but you know, yeah, I mean, we're super happy with what we've been doing so far, or you know, and I think we're going in the right direction. But of course, we are always, our ambitions are always, there are so many things I think we can improve still, and optimize, and with this little card game of ours.
So there's a question that's been posted a few times here, which is when will we be able to craft gold cards? The short answer is probably like it's very unlikely that would be something that would be maybe craftable through like the wildcard system or something. But like acquiring gold cards could be take different forms in the future, right? It's kind of a part of what we talked about, like how do we want to serve you guys with the option of customizing your deck. You know, in custom card, in like printed card games, right? You often have like these sleeves that, you know, I put my cards in and, you know, I have them all neat and I keep them. Is that something we want to mimic? Like, do we want to, because we can allow you to do stuff like without spoiling what this card is, we can have it custom, right? So like it can change when it gets drawn or something. Like there's so many ways that you can play around with customizing the cards that, you know, right now we just don't know what we want to do there and what would be the best thing for you guys. So I would say until we figure that out, you know, gold cards would be kind of reward based, but after that it might just kind of slot into the same cosmetic, same type of cosmetic kind of as other cosmetics, right? You might be able to purchase them for real money, maybe for like a large amount of gold or something. If we were talking about something like a diamond, you know, effect or you know something like that. Who knows?
Or in the other direction, a completely burnt out and torn up card. You know, I would love to go far into that direction. Already some of the card packs are a little bit like that, but
I like that.
But maybe on the front of the card as well, that it would be really battle hardened and dirty and rusty. And
that's actually super cool. I think it could be actually really cool if I could get a bullet hole through my deck. I don't know, is that just me or like, I mean, I think that would be insane, right?
Yeah, it would be cool.
But like, you know, something like that kind of makes it battle hardened, right? Like it's like dirty, it's maybe caught fire or something like that. That would be awesome. I really like it. I hadn't thought about that. I've always been thinking about it in like the premium direction instead of like, you know, we're a war game, right?
Yeah, we can go bit in both directions.
Yeah, that's awesome. Non-weapon cosmetics for the playing field, working on it. Where more? Is the
We're
ability
working
to
on a hair dryer at the moment and a ironing, what's it called?
an iron?
Yeah, iron,
Yes.
to iron your shirt.
Yes. I've talked about that before. I would want an iron in the game. I want an iron. I want a cup of tea. I would love like a cigar in an ashtray or something. You know, that has a smoke coming out of it.
Yeah, we have some pretty awesome packs of cigarettes also. But
It's such a problem in today's world. We can't really put cigarettes without, you know.
I would love to use that, but I think it's probably off the menu.
Don't we have to like change our age rating or something if we put cigarettes in the game? I think so. Like honestly.
You can have weapons, you know, that made only to kill people, but not cigarettes.
That's pretty crazy. But all right, guys, that's pretty much the end of it. We're nearing the end of the hour. It is 5 o'clock. I've had so much fun kind of having this chat. There was a question earlier that I noticed that I didn't answer, which was asking if more devs will be joining the Bunker Chat in the future. Yes, absolutely. You know, we're going to be trying to introduce new faces and let you guys get to know more of the team through these in the future. It's just everybody's super beat at the moment, so everybody dodged the bullet this time around. But I was thinking like maybe we should put a meet the dev section in the Bunker Chat where we just play a 5-minute video or something where we kind of introduce.
That would be awesome. That's a great idea.
Because I definitely think you guys deserve to know some of the kick-ass and awesome people we have working on the game behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, we are always here, but I mean, our team is full of other people which are
much smarter than me.
Yeah, even smarter than me.
But all right, any last words, Gummi?
Nate, just you know, keep on playing and look forward to the next one and soldier on.
Soldier on. Well, with those amazing words, we'll call it a day. Thank you so much for joining us here for the Bunker Chat. I hope you enjoyed this. Please give us feedback on this format and the way we are communicating with you guys through this hour window every month. We do want to keep improving this and make this a staple for years to come. So thank you so much for playing cards, and we will see you on the battlefield.